So you've been playing Age of Mythology, having some fun, but now you are against tougher AI or enemy players, and you are a bit, well, behind. You can't seem to maintain the economy while enemy hordes rush through your bases, killing your villagers, and more. Well, that's where I'd like to help you out. This is the Greek Beginner's Guide to Age of Mythology. Now, this is a build type that I have been focusing on as I have pushed against tougher AI with a great degree of success and repeatability. I am able to overwhelm enemies before they get a chance to defeat me. Now, to be sure, I have not tested this build in PvP and have had phenomenal success, at least against the hard AI. So keep that in mind. In this example, I will be focusing on using Hades, as his god worship lines are very effective, along with a great starting power in Sentinels. Anyway, let's get into it. As soon as the match begins, start spamming villagers with your current food reserve. We will be pumping out villagers very quickly here so we can bolster our economy moving into the next stage. In the same step, we will farm the nearest source of wild food, whether that is deer, elk, chickens, what have you. Also, with whatever herd animal you may start with, move them towards the main base and have them sit there. We will have a decision to make with them here in a minute. As soon as your food generation is going and villagers are spawning, your next task is to send your scout out and view the area immediately around you, finding resources, relics, as well as maybe wild herd animals that are there. You can shift-click multiple points and have your scout run to each one of these in succession, which allows you to focus on more economical things while they continue to scout for you. Now, this next step doesn't necessarily need to happen immediately, but at some point during the opening few minutes, use the Sentinel God Power. This spawns sentinels around your tower center, which offers great protection before you even get your towers upgraded. Later down the line, this also kind of becomes a fantastic defensive structure, so if your enemies get too close, they get peppered with arrows. So while all of this is happening, we will be building a granary, which should be positioned near your source of wild food. Once it is complete, research either hunting dogs or husbandry, one or the other. Hunting dogs are great, for example, when a map has tons of wild animals running around, like this map that I am on here. Or if you have successfully found multiple herd animals throughout your travels, it may be better to use husbandry. Pick which food source would work best for you. I prefer the hunting dogs, as there tends to be more reliable food nearby in this example. Around this time, you should also be completing your initial 5 villagers. As the last few are spawning, build a storehouse. Now, this should be positioned very close to both a gold mine and a tree line, because both resources are dropped here. The closer, the better. Now, right-click on your town center to have the villagers spawn gathering wood and gold evenly. I usually will have anywhere between 3 to 4 on either resource starting out for its greatest effect. As you keep progressing through the stage, I also recommend you continuously spawn more and more villagers, distributing them evenly between food, gold, and wood gathering. Around this time, you will also be nearing your population cap, so build a house nearby. I recommend building them around your towers or your sentinels as you upgrade them. Invaders will have a tougher time getting into melee range to deal damage to them, allowing them to have greater survivability and more DPS uptime. You will also be nearly ready to build your temple. Once you have 100 wood and gold, build that bad boy. I suggest positioning them near the town center, but build where you see fit. Now, you kind of have 2 options here for your food. As your food villagers are finishing up their first food source, their first wild source, you will need to get another. Since we have wild dogs researched, I opt for creating another granary near another group of wild animals to gather from. You can also utilize your herded animals as a source now, but I personally like to delay this as long as possible and stick with the research line that I've already created. So you should have near enough food to move to the next stage. Here I recommend going with Ares, as the Cyclops is a very powerful myth unit, and upgrading them to an Elder Cyclops will provide very quick and powerful siege damage, which will help out taking down some enemy buildings. Also, the Pestilence God Power allows you to create a massive advantage moving into the early Classic Age attack. Pestilence will block all enemy buildings from creating military units. As soon as the Classic Age is finished researching, guess what? Create more villagers. 4 to 5 depending. This should have a focus mainly on wood and gold, as you should have near 7+ food gatherers. Starting with our unit production, I like the archery range here first, as we have a big beefy unit in the Cyclops as a melee combatant, not to mention the hero units we will soon get. While this is also happening, you will probably be near unit cap, so you will need to build another house to keep pumping out those units. Again, build this one surrounding one of your defensive structures. Because we are still using a majority of our food for villager production, a great step is to upgrade our archery units first. This will cost 150 wood and gold, but it provides stronger units as we produce them. We will also want to upgrade our storehouse gathering, either gold or wood here first. This will assist with the oncoming tech upgrades as well as unit production. Once your archery range is finished with its tech, I suggest that we go ahead and produce 4 to 5 Toxicities just so that we have some type of immediate army, ideally. Our next step is going to be creating a hero unit to deal with the incoming myth units that will be spawning. Now, our first hero is Ajax. Ideally, you should have spotted a relic somewhere in your scouting, and I would spawn Ajax to have him immediately go and grab it and bring it back to the temple, for whatever benefit that you have. Our food gathering villagers should be just about done with their second group of wild animals, and you should build a new granary nearby another group of animals to get started gathering food here. You will also be nearing population cap again, so create another house for more production. At this same time, we will be looking to build a barracks, and as soon as it is finished, we upgrade the hoplite units here to the medium tier. The last step before the enemy attacks is to upgrade your towers. You should have plenty of wood and gold to field at this point, and now having units to defend you while you are in your best position moving forward is going to be key. What's great about this is that you have essentially 9 towers set up to defend your town. 5 sentinels, 4 guard towers. And at this point, you are basically set up for your next steps. Your villagers can harvest the herded animals that you have acquired as you transition them into farms, creating more villagers for gold, food, and wood production, as well as building more units to handle the first assault. From this point, you can also play aggressively or perhaps conservatively by guarding your resources and town center. More likely than not, when your enemy goes into attack, they will enter into chat that they are getting ready to do so. So prepare your villagers, especially the ones in the back, to defend against an attack oncoming from this way. Because we have a Cyclops and the Pestilence God power, we can progress and counterattack after their initial opening attack, which is something I do in this example. The Cyclops can DPS buildings down, while the Pestilence power prevents any military units spawning for a time. This allows us to break the buildings, and they can't do anything. Now, again, I'll stress that this is just a simple build that I've been following that has given me a lot of success against harder AI. And I'm sure that this could be adapted against, say, Titan or even in PvP. Hades has a lot at his disposal as far as a singular god for the Greeks to sway any type of match into your favor. That about covers it. This puts you in a pretty decent spot economically, and you can build out varying depending on where you wish to go. If you are interested in finding out some more about the mistakes I have made in my time playing Age of Mythology, click this video here. As always, stay caffeinated, folks.